Alright, if you're looking at two fractions that don't have the same denominators, and you're trying to figure out which one is larger, it's not always the easiest comparison. If you're comparing 2/3 or 5/8, I mean, you could kind of think about this. We have 2/3 of a board, okay, versus 5/8 of the board. 5/8 of the board, well, that's actually pretty close, and it's too close to tell. So just, thinking about some of these, it's not always easy to tell if 2/3 or 5/8, just as an example, which one of those is bigger. So the easiest way to do this that I know of would be to just kind of convert both of them into their decimal equivalents. We haven't really talked about this, but it's fairly simple. And so I think it's a good place to introduce this. If you're trying to figure out what the decimal equivalent of 2/3 is, well, this says 2 divided by 3. The calculator is very good at converting to decimals. That's basically what it does. Well, actually, it converts to something else, binary, but whatever. So this 2/3 is the same, according to the calculator, as 0.6 repeating. 5/8 on the calculator, if we type that in, 5 divided by 8 is 0.625. And then it's just a matter of comparing the two decimals, figuring out which one of these is bigger. So to compare these, you may look at all the sixes and say, oh, well, that's a big number. It just keeps going forever. But actually, these bits here get smaller and smaller as it goes along. If you want to tell which one of these is bigger, then actually you need to compare them in one place at a time. They're all zeros to the left of the decimal place, and to the right of the decimal place they match here. So far they're good. They're the same. But once you come to this location here, you can see that this one's bigger. So that means 2/3 is bigger, because in this place value here, it's actually bigger. Like I said, we haven't really talked very much about decimal places, and so I'm hesitant to go too much into that. But this is definitely the easiest way to tell if which of these two fractions is bigger. The alternative would be converting them into the same denominator, and we'll see how to convert things to the same denominator in a couple sections once we get to addition and subtraction of fractions. I just didn't want to jump the gun that much. That's a more complicated process. So let's just test the rest of these. 3/4 and 5/7. So 3/4 is 0.75, and 5 divided by 7 is 0.71 something. 0.75, 0.71, ... This number is definitely smaller, so 3/4 is bigger. Um, 2 1/4. This is another thing when you're trying to figure out how to enter something like a mixed number into a calculator. The 2 1/4, you really kind of want to think of it as 2 plus 1/4. The calculator will know to do the division before it does the addition there. So it's going to take 1/4 and then add that on to 2. That's kind of how you would type in a mixed number into the calculator. So 2 plus 1 divided by 4, you can see is 2.25. That's as expected. If you happen to see this as 2.25 without plugging it into the calculator, then that's even better. Let's do 11/6 to figure out what number that is. You can see the fact that it's a improper fraction actually makes it a little easier to work with than a mixed number. That's why, in general, I tend to prefer improper fractions over mixed numbers, almost exclusively. There are very few instances where I prefer the mixed number. In any case, so you can see here, this 2 point something is bigger than 1 point something, so the 2 1/4 is bigger. Let's look at a couple more examples here. 3, there's not really any need to type 3 into a calculator, but let's do 40/13ths rather, and you can see that's slightly bigger than 3. This is 3.07 ... So 40/13 is bigger. Oops. And the last question here, it says a 5/8 drill bit is too small for a job, but a 3/4 is too large. What size is in between them? If we wanted to compare these, you can see 5/8 and, well, 3/4. If we want to compare these, we kind of want them to have the same denominator. So this would I'd rather think of this as 6/8. 3/4 is equal to 6/8. Those are the same because, you know, I'm just doubling the top and the bottom. If I'm trying to get between them, there is no whole number that's between 5 and 6. So what I'd rather do is I'd rather, you know, figure out, okay, what are these in sixteenths? This is 10/16. This is 12/16. And so between them must be 11/16. So if we wanted to figure out what size drill bit is between a 5/8 and a 3/4 inch drill bit, you can see we get that as an 11/16 drill bit. And this is because 5/8 is equivalent to 10/16. 3/4 is equivalent to 12/16, and, well, 11 is between 10 and 12. But in order to compare these, we did have to have the same denominator.